Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the brand new DC Comics Primal Age action figures from Funko. Full disclosure, this set of figures was provided to me by Funko for the sake of the reveal and this particular review. So what in the world is DC Primal Age? Well, much like Funko's new Savage World line, this is essentially kind of a what-if series. So put yourself in the mindset of thinking, what if there was a line of DC Comics characters released in 1983 in the same style as He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Basically, you've got these barbarian, beefy, chunky, crazy-looking action figures, and that is exactly what Funko is doing with this line right here. It's so weird, it's so different, and it's something that I totally love. Being a big fan and collector of Masters of the Universe and other similar 80s 5.5-inch action figures, this sort of thing is right up my alley. I've been a big fan of what Funko's done with the Savage World line, and now we're going to check out Primal Age. So as you can see, there are several figures being released in this first assortment, all coming on classic vintage style blister card packaging with some new artwork. And this includes our heroes such as Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, and villains such as the Joker, King Shark, Scarecrow, and Mr. Freeze. So let's go ahead and get these guys pulled out of these boxes, and we are going to take a closer look at them. And what better place to start than with Batman himself? So, these guys have some really wacky designs. But first of all, let's talk about the aesthetic, because these are a bit weirdly disproportionate on purpose, because like I said, they're meant to fit in with He-Man figures from the 80s or other similar 5.5-inch action figures. So they've got the bent knees and the squat poses, they've got these oversized, beefy, chunky bodies, and they've got basic articulation, which just features the head swiveling at the neck, the arms swiveling at the shoulders, and then ball joints there at the thighs, so the legs can kind of swivel around. And then you should also have torso movement as well. No action features, so no snapback waists like with He-Man, but it's a very basic articulation, but exactly what you would expect from a vintage action figure like this. And one of the things that Funko's done really great with all their Savage World figures that continues with these is the quality is really nice on these. They're nice and solid, they feel sturdy, they feel like a kid could actually pick these up and bash them around and play with them just like the 80s toys were intended for. They are really well made, and you can see they balance really well, so they look pretty great. The paint deco looks awesome on here. Batman is sporting his classic blue and gray color scheme straight out of the comics, but he's got some silly 80s, kind of barbarian style accessories going on. So he's got a power harness around his torso there, much like He-Man. Now, this is part of the sculpt. It's not removable, but it's painted in gold and has the bat insignia on the center, and he's still rocking his utility belt over some nice furry pants there. You got that furry loincloth. And he's also rocking this furry cape here as well, which you can see is made of a softer, more pliable plastic. I love the details like the stitching in the cowl over his head. So you can see it's like it's homemade. And he's even got the fur-topped boots there, just like your classic barbarian action figures. So he does come with two accessories, because what good would a 5.5-inch barbarian be without a sword and a shield? And that is exactly what we've got going on here. So Batman's got this great beat-up looking golden shield with the bat insignia. You can see it's got a little clip on there, so you can clip that right on his wrist, just like so. Actually fits on nice and solid there. You can even kind of move it over to the front to have it forward facing if you'd like. And then he's got this really sweet sword. Again, nice chunks and stuff taken out of it like it's been used a bunch. And then the hilt looks like the bat insignia with some blue wrapping around the handle there. And it's very cool. And he's got a nice tight grip on it, which is very cool. So that completes our Batman. Next up, we've got Princess Diana herself. We've got Wonder Woman. And this is really cool because this is the only female in the line so far, and you want to think along the lines of Teela or Evelyn from Vintage Masters of the Universe. That is the style that she's done in. So she's a lot thinner than the beefed up males in the line. She's got very similar aesthetics to Teela. So this is what Wonder Woman would have looked like basically if she was in the He-Man toy line, which is really cool. I love this little kind of crown with the nose bridge piece that comes down over the nose, which is very cool looking. Her articulation is still similar. You can swivel her at the neck. The hair sculpt gets in the way a little bit, so you can't turn her head fully to the left or right. You can move her arms at the shoulders. You got the winged eagle here on the front. It doesn't hinder the articulation. It's actually made of a bit of a pliable plastic on the edges of the wings, so it doesn't hinder the movement of the arms. You can still swivel her at the waist, and then the legs basically can just move kind of outward there. They are on ball joints as well, so you can see they can kind of move in and out, and then forwards and backwards like that. So she's great. She stands really well. She's rocking a cape there, which you can see is just clasped onto the front. So, you know, if you want, you can actually pop that off. Look at that. Boom. Now we've got Wonder Woman without her cape if you want. I actually really like the way she looks with the cape, but it's good to know that that is a removable accessory, much like a lot of those armor pieces were on some of those vintage toys like that. So Wonder Woman includes a few different accessories. First of all, she does have her golden lasso right there. Now this is just a solid sculpted piece, but it's very well sculpted. Looks really cool. And she's got this little hook right here on her belt, which is perfect for hanging the lasso right off of her belt. So then to armor up, we've got this awesome golden shield and sword. So the shield works very similarly to Batman's there. It's got just this little clasp, so it can clip right there on her wrist, and she can hold onto the sword in her hand. Again, nice tight grip, and it arms up our Wonder Woman for battle. Next up, we've got Aquaman. This guy looks awesome. He's totally got a very 90s feel, actually. So he's like an 80s action figure with a very 90s Aquaman look because he's got a hook for a hand and the long beard here. But it just translates so well because, man, this guy looks like he totally fits right in with some of those retro barbarian-style action figure lines. He's got this amazing crown going around his head, again with the little nose bridge. I love the beard that's like tied in the two braids there. Look at the detail on this armor on his shoulder with like this squid head, which is very cool. And another piece that I like, the little fins on the back of the bracers that he's wearing over his shins. I just thought that was so very cool. He's got this sash that almost looks like netting, like fish netting, wrapped around his torso. He's got a little shark tooth necklace, and of course he's got this little bone hook coming out for his left hand. And he couldn't be Aquaman without his famous trident, so that's exactly what he comes with for an accessory. Now his is a bit loose fitting in his hand. You can see he doesn't get a very tight grip on it, but you can get him posed with it like nicely on the ground, making him look quite regal. And then for our last hero in this first assortment, we have Hal Jordan here as the Green Lantern. He sort of has the man-at-arms thing going on because I love these like translucent green armor pieces seen on his shoulder and his thigh there, like they're made out of power construct from his ring. You can see around his neck, he actually does have this little chain necklace. I guess that would be his power battery, probably, done in a nice translucent green plastic with nice shiny silver painted on. He's got the same thing with Batman. If you look at the stitching on the mask over his eyes, I thought that was really cool. And of course, the ring is right there, sculpted onto his right hand. And he's rocking the furry loincloth and the furry boots, giving him that very barbaric look. Again, I really feel like he's got the total man-at-arms thing happening here because the way he's armored up. He looks awesome. So his accessories are all done in that translucent green. So all of his weapons are done from his ring, his power constructs. So he's got a shield with the Green Lantern logo. Again, same kind of clip, so you can clip that over here on his wrist if you'd like to. And then he's got two weapons in the form of a battle axe and a mace. So you could pair those up however you'd like, where if you want to have him with one weapon and the shield, or if you want to arm him up with just two weapons, you can do that as well. So let's jump over to our villains and start with the Joker, who looks totally bonkers in this beefed up barbarian style. It's kind of weird seeing Joker all buffed out like this, but here he is. He's got a very Joker-like face. His hair is very kind of tattered and crazy. You can see the smile is very smeared there with the lipstick. His shoulder armor over here on the right has got all these card suits on it, and it's done in like this metallic green. I love the drooping like lily flower hanging off of his little sash there, and if you look real close at the sculpting, he's got scarred ha 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 all over his torso, which I thought was really cool. There are 2 little knives on his belt sash there. These are part of the sculpt. They're non-removable. But for accessories, he does include this diamond-shaped shield with the little Joker on there. Again, has the same kind of clip, so it can clip right onto his wrist. And he's got this really crazy axe that's kind of on like a piece of wood for the handle. So you can plug that into his hand, fits nice and tight, and we got this really baddie-looking Joker figure. Okay, this right here is easily one of my favorite figures in the line. King Shark looks incredible in this style. Now, because of his sculpting, he can't actually turn his head, but it's because his torso and his head is all one sculpt to get that really beefy, shark-like look. But look at all the scratches and everything all over him. I love the armor that is like a shark jaw that he's wearing. That's crazy. You think he's wearing like a fallen friend's mouth right there on his torso? That is insane. Also, his wrist armor is all made of clamshells, which is really cool. His loincloth is made of seaweed. He's got a big old shark tooth on his belt. I mean, the design is totally bananas in all the right ways. He's got a few accessories of his own with this crazy shield here with like the shark fin and the waves, so you can fit that over there on his arm, clip it over his little, there we go, over his wrist just like that. And he's got a fish hook for a weapon. Check that out. So we can place that in his hand there. And by the way, his fingers also have like the little nails on there. He's got like the clawed hands. Just a very, very cool looking figure. And seriously, like even if you're not into this as like King Shark, you could totally just like army build a bunch of shark dudes for your He-Man line or any of your 5.5 figures. I totally love him. Scarecrow is kind of a surprising character choice, but man, does he make a really cool barbarian-style villain. The way he's got the hood there and the crazy mask, his mouth is like stitched shut. You can see like all of his armor pieces are made of wood. Look at that, like these wood planks and everything kind of tied together, strapped over his shoulders. He's got this awesome cape there that is made of that kind of pliable plastic. It's nice and tattered, has a great little pattern. It's kind of like a stitchy pattern there. Really cool looking. Same with like his furry boots. It looks like it's got stitching in there with like the wood planks tied around it. He's very creepy looking and just so very cool. So his shield is also made of wood, which matches up with his armor. Has like this crow painted on it there. And then he's got this little sickle, which is so awesome. So he can hold onto this sickle to go into battle. What a cool looking character. And then we are going to end with one of my personal favorites in this particular line. It's Mr. Freeze. Yes, this is Mr. Freeze right here. Check him out. The bald head, the long white beard, the glowy red eyes. I love this icy silver, like spiked harness that he's wearing with like the crystal diamond right there in the center, done in like translucent blue. He's got very icy translucent blue used for the belt and the arm bracer. Just a really cool looking figure. And he's got some awesome accessories. So first of all, he's got this little helmet, which is made of like that translucent blue plastic. So that's like the dome, right? It's the dome that Mr. Freeze would typically be wearing. How awesome is that? So it fits right over his head, looks very cool. And then he's got this awesome iced hand, like powered up like claw hand here, which can snap right over the left hand. Look at that. Now he's got this like chunky, icy claw hand that you can use. In addition to that, we've got this awesome translucent blue ice sickle sword, which looks awesome. Or if we don't want to use this big claw, he's also got this ice shield, which can clip right there onto his wrist. I love this figure. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new line of DC Primal Age action figures from the folks over at Funko, partnered up with Warner Brothers. It's a really bonkers concept. I get it. These are not going to be for everybody, but man, I love them. Now, personally, I'm a big fan of this particular style of action figure. I've been a big fan of it all my life, and I love seeing these crazy designs. I think they are so well done. Some really fun, very unique, very different concepts, and that right there is exactly what makes this toy line fun. So these are already available right now on Funko's Amazon shop and should probably be hitting retail stores as well. So check that out for yourselves if you're interested. Happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.